Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you don't know how you've gotten here, let me welcome you to Story Hour. My name is Meg Elison. Daniel Marcus started Story Hour over 5 years ago to help people stay connected by telling each other stories, which is one of the oldest and noblest forms of human culture. We'd like to welcome back those returning and welcome those who are joining us for the first time. You've come to the right place. As always, we have two writers reading their own work. Tonight we have Ben Francisco, who is correctly addressed and referred to as they, them, and Suzan Palumbo, correctly addressed and referred to as she, her. If you're here on the Zoom, please join us in the text chat if you would like. There's usually cool side jokes going on in there for those of you who aren't in the know. If you're joining us on YouTube, thank you so much. Please enjoy these stories without the pressure of socializing. So, coming up first this evening, we have Ben Francisco. Ben writes fiction ranging from magic realism to space opera, which has been known to feature oversexed ghosts, oh my, depressed precognitive psychics, and pantheistic vampire aliens who reproduce like moths. Their work has won the Indiana Review Fiction Prize, has been featured in the Locus Recommended Reading List, and has appeared in year's best LGBTQ fiction anthologies. Happy Pride, everybody. Their short stories have been published in Strange Horizons, Podcastfuls, Lady Churchill's Rosebud Wristlet, and From Macho to Mariposa, new gay Latino fiction. Ben's first novel, Val Vega, Secret Ambassador of Earth, a young adult Latinx space adventure, was a Book Life Best Book of 2024 and was featured in Reactor Magazine's notable young adult science fiction, fantasy, and horror of 2024. In a starred review, Kirkus called it a captivating, heartfelt tale about family, diplomacy, and finding one's place in the universe. Ben lives in Brooklyn with their partner and has devoted much of their copious spare time to working for nonprofits advancing LGBTQ rights, immigrant rights, and racial and gender justice. Ben, would you like to take us away?
Yeah, thank you, Meg. It's an honor to be here with you and to be seeing you virtually instead of in Brooklyn, and to be here with Susan, who I'm a longtime fan of. Um, and I'll start with just a bit of show and tell. This is the novel that Meg referred to, if anyone is interested. It's a sort of queer Latinx space diplomacy adventure. And I'm going to be reading from an anthology that came out a couple years ago, an anthology of queer fiction called It Gets Even Better, Stories of Queer Possibility. And it was an anthology of intentionally optimistic queer fiction, which at the time when I was invited to submit, I was having this was in 2020, and I was having trouble channeling optimism. And that led me to sort of a funny place, which you'll hear as I read the story. And the content notes for this story are, I guess the big one is death, and the other is probably there are references to recoveries from addiction. And the story is called The After Party, and I will dive right in. The land of the dead is a party that never stops, and you can stay as long as you want. You've been dancing for weeks now, and you have no intention of stopping anytime soon. It's the best party you've ever been to. The DJ is an alchemist, always sensing exactly the right song for the right moment, the tune that will crescendo the crowd's energy as it rises like a thrilling roller coaster, then slow it down when the energy needs to ease back, like a gentle rocking chair. The sky is your ceiling, and the ground is your dance floor. No matter how far you travel, the party's still there, across dense forests and cobblestone plazas and valleys dotted with shamrocks and dandelions. But your favorite spot is here, where the shore meets a forest of redwoods, and you can dance in the sand or the waves or the trees as you please. People are wearing body paint and glitter and capes and wings, not costume wings, but real wings that flap and glide and furl and unfurl to the beat of the bass. People are dressed and undressed and in between, and every body is shining with its beauty. Lean bodies, fat bodies, hairy bodies, smooth bodies, male bodies, female bodies, bodies that transcend male and female, bodies that have been shaped by their wearers into fully realized dreams of themselves. Your memories of that other place are fuzzy, that place where gravity held everything down and rules tied everyone up. You vaguely remember that some bodies were treated as better than others, That you used to look down at your own body and feel shame that certain parts were too big and others too small. That seems so quaint now, the idea that a body and its parts should only come in certain sizes, as if you were an appliance whose pieces had to come in exact specifications in order to be assembled properly. The beat slows down, and you take a break from dancing and wander to the lounge by the beach. The chairs and sofas and pillows are so comfortable they hug your skin like an entire wardrobe of satin. The tables are covered with fruits that are sweet and juicy and cool, teas that smell of lavender and honey, all the comfort food from all the places you've called home. You grab a pomegranate and sink into a plush couch, savoring the elated aching of your muscles from the delight of the dance. You hold up the fruit in your hand and feel the urge to talk to it, like in that monologue with the skull from that famous play everyone always quotes in the other place. You have the urge to declare, "Alas, poor pomegranate, I knew you well." But that would be a lie. You barely knew pomegranate at all. Your whole life, you avoided pomegranates on principle, because the work to fruit ratio was too high for any sensible person to waste time on them. It's only since you got here that you've begun to understand the genius of the pomegranate. The way the labor it requires is intrinsic to its succulence. As you tease out the seeds from the husk, someone approaches you, his face familiar. "I've been looking everywhere, and I've got to say, this was the last place I thought to look," he says, pouring himself an orange spiced tea with honey and lemon. The scent of honey and lemon helps you remember. He always took his tea that way, his hangover helper, along with 2 ibuprofen. A series of memories come back to you like rewatching scenes from a movie you saw long ago. Going to an ATM to get cash for him, knowing what he would use it for, but not knowing what else to do. Sitting through a professional meeting with him in a conference room as he madly constructed a mind map of post-it notes, knowing he was high, but not knowing if your other coworkers could even tell the difference. Him leaving to party and play the night before checking into the clinic because it just makes so much sense to have a proper fond farewell, while you waited up all night for him, knowing exactly what he was doing and not knowing what sense even meant anymore. A vicious cycle of knowing too many things and not knowing so many more. He stands over you, stirring the honey into his tea. "Do you remember me?" he says, and you nod slowly. It's easier to remember when we're near each other, near other people we knew before. "I've been looking for you because I never actually got to do the steps down there. I mean, I went through the motions, but I never really did them. So I guess that's what I'm doing here, working the steps I spent a whole life avoiding. Steps 2 and 3 are a lot easier here." He chuckles and waves his teaspoon around at the food, the lights, the dance floor that stretches to the horizon. I mean, it's pretty hard to deny a power greater than ourselves with all this around us. You laugh because it's true. It's funny how people would debate those things, arguing that everything was small, not seeing that even the smallest things contained infinity. "So number nine's a doozy," he says. "Feels like I've been working on it for eternity already, and I'm still on the top part of the list because that's where you are, right near the top of the list of the people I cared about, people I hurt. I want you to know, I know how much I hurt you, how I put you in so many impossible situations, and I want to thank you for trying to help me, even when you had no idea how to, even when I had no idea how to help myself." He puts down his tea and locks his eyes on you. "You didn't realize that tears could happen here. Up until now, it's only been smiles and dancing. But as you look at him, you realize the tears are part of the splendor too." "I'm sorry," he says. For a moment, you feel the tug of your former self, the urge to judge and recriminate, to remind him he's apologized 1,000 times before, that his actions have consequences that he can't undo with too easy words. But you're larger than that now. You have the wisdom to know so many differences. And you know that this time is different, that he means the words he says. Your eyes dance with his eyes, following their lead into the territory of tears. "I forgive you," you say. And he drops onto the couch and hugs you, a hug with his full self, the way he used to hug you before those tiny crystals of dark magic took away your friend. "I wish I could give you something," he says, "something to thank you." The song transitions to an upbeat remix of a ballad about the healing of beautiful broken hearts. You jump up. "You can do something. You can dance with me." He laughs as you drag him to the dance floor. Is this the afterlife or the upside down? He says. I was always the one dragging you out to the parties. The crowd parts to make space for the two of you, and you need it. You need all that space to leap and dance and twirl each other around. Suddenly, you're not dancing on the floor anymore. You're dancing on air, gliding over the crowd in a flight of ecstatic joy. Still soaring, you pull him close and whisper, I always understood, how you wanted to get somewhere higher. You just took a wrong turn trying to get up here. He hugs you tight, embracing you in the air. That's a kind way to put it. And you've always been kind. You and your friend dance for hours, and the DJ seems to be playing just for you, playing songs from all the times you shared together. You dance a dance that's more than nostalgia. It's the making of a new album that has the greatest hits of the past and a whole new set of rhythms that were only just invented. Then he says, I've got to go. I have a lot of rounds to do, and hugs you goodbye. You keep dancing by yourself, and the music is even better now than it was before. How does it keep getting even better when it was absolutely perfect from the start? Such questions are unanswerable. Your only answer is to dance out all the joy that's surging through your body. You're taking another break, crouching on the shore, letting the tide wash over your feet and the bass line wash over your ears. It's nighttime now, though the passage of time is hard to gauge here. You haven't seen a clock or a watch or a tiny screen measuring the passing of seconds since you got here. You don't miss the clocks or the screens or the schedules, not at all. They were what kept you away from this for so long. That's when the two of them find you. For the first time since you've been here, your volume of delight comes down from 11. You hope this won't take long, that they won't try to keep you from the dance floor. We want to share something with you, she says, if you'll just come with us for a minute. Things are different now, he says. I'm not leaving the party, you say, unmoving from the sand. They look at each other, nodding, as if they'd expected this. Then we'll do it here, she says. The music is nice, he agrees. Your father turns to his left, and an oven rises out of the wet sand. Your mother turns to her right, and suddenly she's in front of a woodtop island. In a flurry, your parents are chopping and whisking and sautéing. The music shifts to a soft jazz beat as the scents of garlic and butter and cilantro fill the air. Your parents smile as they work, dividing the labor effortlessly, which is jarring because they never could be in the same room together, especially a kitchen, for more than 5 minutes before the shouting started. And your father never knew how to cook anything other than eggs over easy. I've learned to cook here, your father says. For a while, I was having trouble finding my way, figuring out what I was supposed to do. Then I found the feasting courts. Have you been down that way? No, you say, confused about where that could be. It's all one endless dance party from horizon to horizon. When I found the feasting courts, your father goes on, I realized this is what I've been missing. I spent my whole life trying to fix things, but I never learned to make things, to cook things up. Your mother lets out a humph. 5 decades of marriage, and I've got to wait for the afterlife for this man to finally learn how to cook. Your father laughs. This isn't like they used to fight, the take no prisoners, mutually assured destruction. This is different, the playful sparring of two people deeply in love. You find it all quite disorienting. So we wanted to find you, your father says, and offer you this feast. We wanted to give you something for a change, your mother says. Even when you were a little kid, sometimes you took care of us more than we took care of you. A kitchen table appears in the wet beach, the waves lapping against its wooden legs. Your kitchen table, the one from the house you grew up in. Your parents set the table with the feast they've created. Mofongo, pateles, collard greens, creme brulee, all of your favorite dishes. Your father lights candles and your mother pulls up a chair for you, inviting you to sit. Part of you still wants to go back to the dance floor, the jazz two-step calling to your feet. But the scent of the meal made just for you is seductive, and you appreciate that your parents made such an effort. You wonder if that's part of the magic here. It's easier for people to find the power inside themselves to make the effort. You sit with your parents and eat. The food tastes like home. Not the home you had, but the home you almost had. The home that could have been perfect if things had been just a little bit different. As you eat, your parents tell you about their wanderings. You had no idea there was so much more to this place, that this world kept going beyond the party. But then you only just got there and the party has demanded all your attention, like a lover that's been waiting all night for you to come home. Your mother cracks open the top of her creme brulee as you finish the meal. We've been here a while, she says, and we think we're almost ready to go up to the second floor. There's a second floor, you ask? Oh, yeah, your mother says, gesturing toward the forest. At the edge, an old wooden staircase ascends into the heights of the redwoods. You've seen it before, but always assumed it led to a treetop pavilion, a special section of the dance floor with a great view of the ocean. You've been meaning to check it out, but haven't had the chance. We needed to see you first, your mother goes on, to share this meal with you, to offer you a little nourishment, to thank you for all the ways you nourished us. I spent so much time trying to get you to be something you weren't, your father says, when this whole time you were this kid who was perfect, just exactly as you are. Thank you, you say, and you can tell it's what they need to hear. The music shifts from jazz to salsa, and the three of you smile at one another. You all stand up and dance around the kitchen table as the tide comes in, your feet splashing in unison with each other and with the congas. Your mother takes your hand. Your hips and her hips move as one. It's familiar and comforting to dance with your mother, just like you used to when you were little. Then the beat shifts to a rhythm you never expected. Your mother twirls you around and passes you to your father. He extends his right hand, much to the surprise of your left hand. He places his other arm around your shoulder, shocking your shoulder blades. He's positioning himself to follow, inviting you to lead. This is even more disorienting than the feast, but the compass of your body manages to find its bearings. You take your father's extended hand and place your other hand on his back. You guide him through the dance in the shallow waters. Splash, splash left. Splash, splash right. His body follows yours as easily as his smile. You feel for the first time in your existence, living or dead, that your father is seeing you. A tiny team of tears finds its way from your eyes back into the ocean. The song ends. Your parents kiss you goodbye and say they've done all they came to do, that they'll see you on the second floor when you're ready. For a moment, you wonder about these people who keep finding you, how they all seem to have a mission, a list of things they need to get done. Should you have a list too? You used to have so many lists in so many places, post-it notes, memo pads, email reminders, Taskmaster apps. In life, you made list after list, lists of all the lists you had to make, so many lists you nearly drowned in them. No, no lists for you here. Your only mission is to dance. The music goes on. The sky is clear, and the stars, the planets, the constellations are all swirling to the beat. The most spectacular light show you've ever seen. Even the Milky Way is dancing. That river of lights undulating to soaring orchestral rhythms. You dance for hours with those celestial bodies. Then you see him, smiling, shimmying his shoulders as he dances toward you. He's still so sexy. It irritates you that he's still so sexy. Hey, Tiger, he says, dancing in a circle around you. He knows you love it when he calls you Tiger, like Mary Jane and Peter Parker. I've been looking for you. Never guessed you'd be here. I thought for sure you'd be in the library. Have you been to the library? It's just like this, but with books. Every book there ever was. Whole cityscapes of books. You'd totally love it. You half smile, but you're determined to resist being manipulated. Redemption may have been possible for the others, but not for him. What he gave you was a scar, not a wound, and scars last even longer than the bodies they lived on. You come to a standstill on the dance floor. You lied to me, you say. He stands still too, just a foot away from you. I lied so much, he says, and my lies enchanted you, every one of them. You spent the last decade preparing for this moment. You have whole monologues prepared, treatises on all his wrongs, interrogations of all his untruths. But it does you no good that you ran your lines so many times. You still are not ready to perform off book. Not for this, not for him. Of all the lines you rehearsed, all you can remember is one single question you never got the answer to. All those times when you said you couldn't kiss me because I had severe halitosis, was that a lie too, you say? Total lie, he says, grinning. Except one time. The first time, your breath really was terrible. That was what gave me the idea. All the other times, I just didn't feel like kissing you, and that was the easiest way to get out of it. You knew it. You always knew that was a lie, too. So much smaller than his other lies, but the one that might have hurt the most. like a hatchet as small as a paperclip. The music gets ominous, and all the joy scatters away from the dance floor like cockroaches running when you turn on the kitchen light. I lied so much it was like scratching an itch, he says. I did it without thinking. But here's the funny thing now I never lie. Here I only say true things. This conversation is nothing like the others. He's not even trying to apologize. This person who hurt you worst of all, who made you lose your faith, not just in him, but in yourself, in everything. You wish he would leave. You wish the happy music would come back. He looks up at the Milky Way, still dancing above, oblivious to your misery. The truth is, he says, we should have broken up 3 years earlier. I was terrified of you seeing how broken I was. My soul did somersaults so you wouldn't see how much I was hurting. I made up all those lies to please you and to manipulate you. I turned away from you when you kept reaching out, and I never even told you why. It wasn't because I didn't have enough love for you. It was because I didn't have enough capacity. I wish I'd been strong enough to love you right. I owe you that much truth at least. He's dancing around an apology. Even here, he still can't say the simple words, I'm sorry. Part of you wants to be large, to forgive him, like you did your friend and your parents, but you're not that big yet. Okay, you say, and that's the most you can offer. The music shifts to a pop mix you've always loved. I'm going back to dancing now. You can see in his eyes that he's disappointed you haven't given him your forgiveness. You're stopping him from getting through his list. Part of you feels some satisfaction in that, though you know you shouldn't. Not here, not in this place where delight makes old grudges nothing but needless weight. I was going to go upstairs soon, he says, check out the famous second floor. But maybe I can dance near you for a bit. I guess that's fine, you say, which you guess it is. Before all your affection ran into the shadows, before you found out all the ways he'd lied, you used to love dancing with him. You dance not with each other, but by each other. You never touch, but your eyes meet a few times for each song. He looks at you with adoration, with desire. You can't remember the last time he looked at you like that, not since long before you separated. You can't deny how nice it feels. A while passes and then he gets close to you again. He clutches your shoulders and looks you up and down like you're a skyscraper and he has to crane his neck to take in all of you. Is this really all you've seen? He says, just this party? Well, yeah, you say, it's the best party ever. He erupts in laughter. You don't quite understand the joke, but you sense there's nothing mean-hearted in his laugh. It's a laughter of irony or appreciation, maybe. And you get the feeling he's laughing at himself and the world as much as he's laughing at you. That is so rich, he says, wiping tears from his eyes. That is so perfect. You spent your whole life taking care of everyone else going through those lists you had. You never slowed down enough to enjoy the party, so here you are. I'm going upstairs soon, he says. You were my last one. But before I go, I'd like to ask you for two more things, even though I've got no right to do that. Can I give you one last kiss? The kiss I should have given you a long time ago. And can I tell you one more true thing? There were so many nights when you lay awake, desperate for a kiss goodnight, craving the touch of the person right there on the other side of the bed. It comforts you that at least one of your regrets is mutual. Yes, you say, you may kiss me, but only if it's wet and passionate and sends shivers through my soul. He looks into your eyes like you're a goddess and you just answered his prayers. He comes in close and kisses you, and your mouth is full of fireworks, and his hands are touching you in all the places you love to be touched. And just at that moment, the DJ transitions to a new song, and it's your song, the song that you and he loved before the sexless nights when the two of you were at your best. Two heroes at the beginning of a romantic adventure, except this time the adventure does not disappoint. It keeps going and going, just like this kiss, which is the quest and the map and the magic elixir all at once. He kisses you like he never wants to stop, but eventually the music shifts to a different song and you pull away because your tongue is tired and your legs are ready to dance again. He steps back and watches you dance, still catching his breath. That was amazing, he says. I was so dumb not to do that every single second you were in my reach. You nod as you bop to the beat because it's true, that was dumb of him. So here's the last thing, he says, the other one true thing I have to tell you. You deserve that kiss and so much more. You deserve all the joy in the world because you are wondrous and lovable and sexy and sacred. You're having trouble hearing what he's saying because you sense there's wisdom in it, and that feels deeply unfair. The last thing this person should be allowed to offer you is wisdom. An amazing kiss is one thing, but wisdom is where you have to hold the line. He reaches out to run his fingers through your hair. I'm sorry I stopped you from seeing your own beauty. I hope that here you get all the joy and desire and love that you deserve. You stop bopping, shocked that he actually said the words. He's about to turn away, but you grab him by the arm and bring him back because you just realized something important. Wait, you say. It wasn't just you. You pause. You want your words to be true too. In life, you used to be so diplomatic that you'd make yourself small in the name of preserving foreign relations. Death is demanding more directness of you, with the world and with yourself. I stopped saying yes to dancing. You always used to ask me to go out dancing with you, and sometimes I'd go, but then at some point I stopped completely. I always had something else, work, friends who needed help, things that seemed more important. He leans back, thumbs in his pockets. You always had your lists, and they kept multiplying, a hydra you could never defeat. You laugh. That was how you saw yourself then, a hero fighting an undefeatable monster. Now I don't have any lists, you say. And I don't have any lies, he says. You're starting to understand the ecology of the magic here. This place strips you down of lists of lies, of whatever was holding you back. Which came first? You ask him. Was it you saying no to kissing or me saying no to dancing? Tears here should no longer surprise you, but from him they do. He almost never used to cry, even as you broke each other's hearts. But he's crying now, crying openly as he never did in life. I don't remember, he says. I can't remember either, you say. It's perplexing yet clarifying, the way you suddenly feel less certain of your own story. And then you say, I wish I'd gone out dancing with you more. I wish I'd said yes more. Yes to so many of your invitations. I didn't have the capacity either. I'm sorry I wasn't ready for you. You look at everything around you, the dance floor, the luminous bodies, the swirling constellations. I wasn't ready for this, for joy. I know, he says. Joy takes work too. He hugs you one more time. Hopefully, I'll see you upstairs later, but you really should check out the library first. You'll love it. It's true that you always love libraries, the books, the quiet, the potential for productivity. I think I need to stay here a while longer, you say, smiling. And I've got a lot of important dancing to do. He nods and smiles at you as he dances away toward the old wooden staircase at the edge of the woods, the one that leads to a second floor that's somehow higher than the sky. You wonder what it's like up there, if the music's even better, if such a thing is possible. Maybe you should check out the second floor too. But first, you'll dance for one more song. It's a good one that just started.
What a wonderful story. There's a line near the end where the apology is, I'm sorry I kept you from seeing your own beauty. Man, that just cuts right through me. On the list of apologies you'll never get but dream about all the time, that's close to the top. Everybody take a deep breath. We're going to depart from the land of the dead. There's a long escalator, there's a boat, there's a Range Rover with your name on it. It's easy to get out of here, much easier than they say. And we're going to move on to our second reader. Suzan Palumbo is an award-nominated queer Trinidadian Canadian dark speculative fiction writer and editor. She co-founded the Ignite Awards, and if I may be allowed to editorialize for a moment, if you feel like you missed a lot of great fiction last year and you don't know where to start with the nominations list for the Ignite Awards. That's where you should be. Founded the Ignite Awards with L.D. Lewis and co-edited the special Caribbean issue of Strange Horizons magazine. Her debut dark fantasy horror short story collection, Skin Thief Stories, was published by Neon Hemlock. Woo, we love Neon Hemlock in 2023. Her novella Countess was published in 2024 by ECW Press and is a Nebula, Aurora, and Locus finalist, and everyone should read it. Her work has appeared in Room Magazine, Lightspeed Magazine, Fantasy, The Deadlands, The Dark Magazine, Pseudopod, Fireside Fiction Quarterly, Podcastle, Anathema, Spec Fic from the Margins, and other venues. She is officially represented by Michael Curry of the Donald Moss Literary Agency and can be found on Blue Sky, sillysyntax.bisky.social. When she isn't writing, she is often sketching, listening to New Wave, or wandering her local misty forest. Take it away, Susan.
Hello, thank you for having me here, everyone. And Ben, that was a fantastic story. I almost cried. Why did you do that to me? I wasn't prepared to cry. I had to turn off the camera for a second. But that was lovely. Thank you. Thank you for going first and reading that beautiful story. So actually, Ben was the one who invited me to come here today because it's Pride Month. Happy Pride to everybody. And it's also Caribbean Heritage Month, and we are both from the Caribbean. And I actually met Ben through the Strange Horizon Caribbean issue. We published his fantastic story, Jumping Puddles. I can't say the Spanish. Ben will have to pronounce it.
Brincando Charcos.
Sorry, say that again?
Brincando Charcos.
Yes, that's
It was an amazing
published...
anthology. It was such an honor to be in it.
And he
Yes,
read Brincando, they read Brincando Charcos for us on here on Story Hour once, and it was amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah, it's a great story.
And I think of
so that's
Ben,
sorry.
now I think of Ben every time I do the laundry because of that story.
Well, it's a good thought to have during laundry.
It absolutely is. Just knowing that Abuela is telling me what I should be doing. So,
yes, well, that's usually how it is. Abuela telling me what to do. So then I was told that we have to, not we have to, but this was supposed to be a upbeat time. And then like I am not really the most upbeat of writers, but I found a story that has a happy ending. Now, in order to get there, there's death and there's also on-screen cutting of each other, but it's not gory, but there are some knives and cutting of palms and blood. This is me describing my happiest story. But it's not long, so if that's a lot for you, though, be aware. Anyways, I'm gonna start now. It's very short. It's called Bleeding Hearts. Very happy. I'm told you cure heartbreak, my neighbor says to me over the fence between our properties. It's the first time she's addressed me since moving into the vacant cottage next door. I don't glance up from mangling the forsythia bush with my pruning shears. There is no remedy for heartbreak. It diffuses into you, becomes part of your marrow. I can't excise it, only dilute it. Will you do that for me? Her voice is a breath away from cracking. I pause and look at her. Are you sure that's what you want? Yes. I invite her in, motion for her to sit in a chair at the kitchen table while I collect what I need for the procedure. She must have fled the city to escape whatever trauma haunts her. No one here wears designer brand jeans. Do you need to know the details of the breakup? A crimson blush seeps up her throat and across her jawline. I don't want to muddy the alchemy with my own empathy. I gesture with my chin for her to follow me out as I head through the back door. The yard is chaotic. None of the specimens have been planted by design. We don't know what will come of anyone's anguish, only that the potential of it is stored like a seed inside them, my father explained long ago when he began to teach me blood cultivation. Mrs. George's turmoil over her divorce had become a variegated hosta. Grandma Peter's spite over not being invited to her granddaughter's wedding, nightshade. Rob Fick's high school heartbreak, a fuchsia climbing rose anchored against the shed. I lead my neighbor to an empty plot and position myself so that I am standing opposite her with a foot of dirt exposed between us. Hold out your hand, I instruct. She complies. Think about the conflict. She swallows and presses her lips together. The expression reads like the aftermath of a betrayal. You must not move or flinch. I continue to explain as I unsheathe the sterilized knife I've brought with me from the kitchen. Fear flickers in her eyes. I grip her wrist firmly with my left hand. For a moment, I think she'll rip her hand away and bolt from my garden. But she stands firm. I slice the tip of the knife into the heartline on her palm. Her breath catches. The cut isn't deep. It's only an inch long. She trembles against the sting. When I've finished, I squeeze her palm and let the blood drip into the dirt. She's crying. Tears help, I tell her. I kneel and mix the blood into the earth with the blade while whispering the words my father passed down to me. We go back inside when I've finished. I clean her wound, slather it in an antibacterial salve, and dress it. She grimaces, but the fear in her eyes has dissolved into relief. What happens now? She cocks her head while looking at me. Live your life. Come back in 3 months. You can see what's grown from it. Dig up the plant if you like then, and put it in your own yard. Destroy it, leave it here, it's your pain. You're not what I expected a witch to look like. A slight smile touches her lips. I am not a witch. I lead her to the door and open it for her. What should I call you then? She turns to face me. Ashley. She blinks when I offer nothing further. Claire, she says as she steps over the threshold. I shut the door quickly behind her. Most people opt for therapy or rebound relationships rather than bloodletting these days. My father's practice was much busier than mine. We have to be stoic for the magic to work, Ashley. Never cry in front of those you help. Our job is to comfort them, not be comforted. He could listen to anyone's grief or remorse and it would leave him unscathed. Detachment did not come naturally to me, but I learned to numb myself over the years, compartmentalize my emotions by pinching them off like suckers on a tomato plant, so I could keep the family trait alive without losing myself in other people's turmoil. A month after Claire's bloodletting, I show Greg Larson to a vacant spot of earth near the back door. His face is shadowed with grief over his brother's death. I can help ease his burden, but I won't let myself cry with him. I catch Claire watching us over the fence. Red and green coral bells have shot up where we buried her blood. She disappears when I glare at her. I don't want her watching Greg's breakdown. I bump into her a month later at Gordon's convenience store. She's chatting with him like they're old pals. She smiles at me, finishes paying for her bread and eggs, and leaves. She wants to be your friend, Gordon says. He reaches down to pat his dog on the head. Did she say that to you? I narrow my eyes. Gordon's the only person I'll tolerate this kind of talk from. He's known me since before my mother left. No, but she can't stop talking about how much your magic helped her. He gives a little shrug as he hands me my change. Then his brow furrows. Rebecca's back in town visiting her parents with her wife. She stopped in here yesterday. My jaw clenches at the sound of the name. That's lovely for them. I pick up my bags and leave. Claire is loitering on the sidewalk outside. I ignore her. I don't want to talk or hang around. Accidentally bumping into Rebecca and the woman she left me for is the last thing I need. I thought we could walk back home together. Sure, I say, but peel off ahead of her. I want to process Rebecca's unexpected return to town alone. I've been doing a lot better since you performed that ritual on me. I grunt at her and keep walking. She matches my pace without skipping a beat. I've met a lot of people you've helped. You don't associate with them. I keep to myself. I've seen too much of their misery. It's easier on them too. I'm a reminder of events they'd like to forget. But I heard your dad. I'm not my father. We reach our houses and I open my front gate. She lingers. I wanted to invite you over for dinner tonight. She's holding her groceries in front of her chest protectively. To thank you. For what? For helping me heal? You don't have to thank me. I look behind me at my front door and tap my foot. Why doesn't she get the hint that I don't want to talk? Come over around 6. You're not a vegetarian, are you? No. I leave her standing at the gate. I don't owe her or anyone politeness or explanations. I put the milk and butter in the fridge when I'm inside. I go out to the shed, get a hacksaw, and amputate 2 branches from the forsythia bush. You're not supposed to cut them back this late in the spring, but I've kept my father's wishes of letting the plant remain in the yard. He never said I couldn't hurt it. At 6 p.m., there's a knock at the door. Claire is standing there in a crimson dress. Dinner's ready. A goofy smile animates her face. As much as I don't want to leave my house, I haven't eaten since before lunch, and my stomach is growling like an angry bear. I'm not changing, I say, slipping on my flip-flops. She surveys my dirt-stained pants and sweat-stained t-shirt. You look great! She bounces and turns on her heel. I roll my eyes and follow her next door. A red tablecloth, the exact hue as her dress, covers her table. There are 2 formal place settings across from each other and crystal candle holders set between them. I sit and she begins dishing out an oversized portion of linguine and meatballs. She pours us both a glass of red wine. Is this a date? I blurt out. I want to claw back the words immediately. Claire almost drops the serving spoon. I'm not used to this kind of treatment. I take my napkin and put it on my lap. I hope you're not uncomfortable, she says, sitting down. You've helped so many people. You don't ask for anything in return. Not needing anything prevents a person from getting hurt. I take a bite of one of the meatballs. They are moist and delicious. She's blended just the right ratio of garlic, cheese, parsley, and salt. I was in a dark place before I moved here. She looks directly at me. I gulp the wine instead of answering. I can feel myself warming up to her, edging close to apologizing for being prickly and standoffish. I need to leave. I shovel the rest of the food in my mouth and eat silently. Then I push my chair back abruptly when I've finished, startling her. Thank you very much for the meal. It was good. She follows me back to her front door. Anytime. I enjoy your company, she says. I give her a closed-lipped smile and hurry back to my dark, empty house without looking back. She's only being polite, I tell myself as I close my front door. My father's grave is tucked into the corner of the cemetery next to the stone wall. I've told the groundkeepers not to maintain the surrounding turf, to let whatever wants to grow above him run amok. I visit him the next morning and find wild raspberries on the bushes braced against the wall. They fall apart on my tongue, their sweetness clashing with my bitter thoughts. I sit next to him. We never talked about what we felt when we were alive. He said nothing after Mom left, barely explained to me why he performed the ritual for Rebecca after she broke up with me. Mom was right, I say to his headstone. This is a cold, lonely life. There's another knock at the door that afternoon. I shouldn't have had dinner with Claire. It's given her this leeway to think she can drop by whenever she wants. I open it, and Rebecca's standing there with the same brown curly hair and easy smile she faked the day she left. I'm in town and I thought I would drop by to look at the transplant your dad did for me. I never did come back for it. Her voice is breezy, belying none of the heartbreak between us. You know your way around the yard. I step aside to let her walk through the house. She waltzes in past me and out the back door. I trail behind, stopping a few feet away from the wounded forsythia bush. Claire is watching over the fence. I don't want her to witness this, but I don't trust myself to look at her. Rebecca's hand goes up to her mouth. Your father said it would be taken care of. My face flashes hot. People say a lot of things and don't keep their promises. The words leave my mouth in a rush. She looks at me like I've cursed her. This wasn't the deal. You convinced my father to do the ritual before you left. You knew he wouldn't say no to you or anyone. You wanted to ease your guilt or whatever heartless people feel. He never performed another transplant for the rest of his life because he knew how upset he'd made me. I've kept it for you. That's more than you did for me. You didn't even message when he died. She holds up her palm. The scar from the ritual is longer and wider than my father would have made. It's pink, inflamed, and impossibly fresh. It didn't work. He messed it up. What do you want me to do about it? You're the one who messed everything up. Kill it, so I can get over it. She pushes past me and heads back through the house, leaving me, like she did the first time. I stifle the urge to yell, "You mean get over me?" I go over to the shed and get my heavy shears and a shovel. Can I help? Claire is in my yard. If I tell her to leave, I'll fall apart. You can bundle up the branches. She piles them up against the fence as I cut them off, then watches me dig up the root ball of the bush. What do we do now? She asks after I've destroyed it. Bring me one of the sheathed knives from the kitchen counter. I keep my voice flat. While I wait, I think of my father, how in the end he hadn't been able to shut off his heart completely. Cut me the way I cut you, I instruct Claire when she returns with the knife. I can't, she recoils. You wanted me to open up and share. I'm too close to the pain. I'll taint it. I press my lips together. They quirk upwards. She nods and unsheathes the knife. She grips my wrist steadily and makes an incision along the heart line. I watch my blood drip into the space where my father bled Rebecca. I kneel and mix the blood into the soil, then stand. Someone once told me tears help, Claire says. I laugh in spite of myself. That person should learn to take her own advice. She follows me back to the house and helps me bandage my hand. I'm not going to ask what happened between you and your friend. She swallows. I am going to ask you if you'd like to come over to have dinner again. There's an earnest, vulnerable shine in her eyes as she speaks. I chew the inside of my cheek. The word no is heavy at the back of my throat. But she isn't Rebecca, and I've just killed my last reminder of the past. Yes, I would like that, I say. The surprised, goofy smile lights up her face, and it makes me think, perhaps something could grow from this.
What a wonderful, complicated story. And as promised, no gore, just occasional cutting. Um, I was
Yes, occasional
so
cutting.
rooting for them. I was so rooting for them in the end. I was sitting here just going, yearning, yearning. So thank you for getting
It's
us to
the
at least,
only happy ending I've ever written where it's like they get together.
it's very hopeful. Thank you very much for bringing us back to the point of hope here at the end. We all appreciate it. So now, like good little children, we've had our two stories and we must be ready for the night to end. I do want to offer that next week, the readers for Story Hour will be Robert Nazar Arjoyan and Ken Wiggins. Douglas Gwilym will guest host in my place. I recommend checking out storyhour2020.com on the day of the reading for any announcements or changes because you never know what'll happen. Storyhour2020.com is also a great place to learn about upcoming authors. You can watch all the programs you may have missed on the Story Hour page on YouTube. It is very easy to search for. Ben and Susan, thank you so much for sharing these wonderful stories and for allowing this unknown theme to emerge. We are all so lucky to have you.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you for hosting. And thank you, Susan. That was brilliant as always.
Yes, thank you for having us. It's a perfect
We're
combo.
great
Yeah.
combo. We're so honored. We
I'm
want to
going,
thank all
I just, I'm going to think of this as the Pride and Joy episode from here on.
pride and
I
joy
know.
all the way. I
I'm
love
doing
it.
it. I don't know, but I was here.
Thanks also to Laura Blackwell, longtime series host and tonight's tech support, and to the founder, Daniel Marcus. Thank you, all of you, for joining us, spinning in the fictive dream. Good night to everybody from Story Hour.